Welcome to Movie Madness with Maddy, where I watch terrible movies just for fun. Tonight's movie presentation is provided by Tubi, where it can't get any shittier.
Hello. Welcome to the first episode ever of Movie Madness with Maddy. I am your lovely host, Maddy, and I'm here to give you guys some tea. Tea on what, you may ask? Tea on terrible movies with terrible jokes and terrible puns and terrible singing, because I can't sing if my life depended on it, but I do love to sing, and I do apologize ahead of time for it. Oh, and also terrible accents in between, because I am terrible at accents, but I love doing it at all times, no matter what. So I want to apologize ahead of time because, this is a friendship and we have to have clear communication and clear boundaries. And I want to tell you guys exactly what's going to happen. Anyway, welcome to the first episode ever of this lovely podcast. I am so ecstatic. It may not seem like it because this is like my 300th time recording this introduction, and I still don't like it no matter what, but I'm sticking to this one. Like, that's it. This is my final one. And I just want to say thank you guys for the ones that do listen. Thank you so much. This is awesome. I'm excited more than you can ever possibly think. And let's get to this, okay? So the whole point of this podcast is that I watch these bad movies and I review it. While I review it, I'll give you guys some of my feedback of the movie with some production information if I can find any. Luckily enough for this movie, I did find a little bit of information, but not too many. But I hope you enjoy the ride just like I did. And what else? I can tell you a little bit about my obsession. So the reason why I like bad movies, I honestly can go back to my childhood. Let's go back in time. And I'm going to do like a rewinding sound. I'm sorry. But I'm going to... Okay, we're back in time. So, it's 1999. I live in a small apartment with my parents in Washington Heights. We only have like 3 channels available. And one of the channels available is WB, okay, which is channel 11 on those illegal boxes. And at 8 o'clock Tuesdays, they used to play this show called Charmed. And it was about witches. Dun, dun, dun. And it wasn't about just regular witches. It was witches that were sisters. And they were fashionable. And guess who starred in it? Holly Mary Combs, Alyssa Milano, Sharon Dorothy. But then Sharon Dorothy went bye-bye, and she got replaced by Rose McGowan. But that's not the point. The point is, this is where my obsession began, okay? And the reason why I say this, because I diagnosed myself with ADHD. And I hyperfixate on people in general. Like, if I like a celebrity, I look in their whole entire fucking catalog, and I just obsess. And that's exactly what happened. And the first person I went with was Alyssa Milano. Alyssa Milano's filmography, I can't even say that word right, is pretty bad. Like, she does not do an A-list movies. Like, most of her movies right now, as of now, they're usually Lifetime movies, and they're pretty bad. And she's not that great of an actress, but she is at the same time. It's very, weird. But I blame her because she helped me to the world, or she, assisted me to the world of Lifetime. And in my head, Lifetime and also Sci-Fi are kind of the same channel. And I became obsessed with these terrible, these bad movies. And it became a lifestyle. And as I gotten older, it hasn't gotten any better, okay? So what happened was, since a kid, I was obsessed. And then comes COVID. Obviously, COVID made everybody find something to do. Some people went into baking. I went into baking and watching movies. And one of my good friends, Andrew, shout out to Andrew, he had a list of really, B-level movies. And I decided to take a challenge upon myself and watch some of these movies. Some of them were called, Microwave Man. I would never recommend that movie. That movie was not okay. Microwave Man, that's the only one I can remember. Microwave Man and Friday the 13th, because I decided to watch all 8 movies. And I do not recommend that for your brain. I definitely lost some brain cells, but it was worth it. I have no regrets. So I decided, because I love listening to podcasts and I always wanted to do one, why not combine my love for podcasts with my love for movies? And I hope this works out because I want to share my love for these movies, and I want people to... I know there's people out there that love bad movies just as I do, and I want to build a community in which we all share our love for it. So, with that being said, I want you guys to grab your favorite drink, or cocktail or mocktail, whatever it is. Sit down, relax, take a breather if you need a breather, because this is the start of a new friendship and a new way of life. All right? So let's start. Let's officially start the first episode of this podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 2021 Tubi original named Ebony Hustle. Do-do-do-do. I thought of electric, but in my head I said hustler instead of electric. Anyway, the whole point, this movie is directed by Jamezz with a Z Hamilton. According to IMDb, he has also directed 2 other films called Songs of Bloody Harlem and False Prophets. The cinematic masterpiece was written by I said that really weird. I said that very bizarre. By John Wayne S., Nia K., and Frank Ovelton. According to IMDb, this movie is a crime thriller about an ex-stripper who turns into a private investigator. I put in my notes terrible private investigator because I was triggered. Honestly, the only crime this movie committed besides everything else is existing. Honestly. Alright, I'm going for the kill, guys. So, in order to keep myself organized throughout the episode and throughout my notes, I divided everything into 4 parts. And hopefully you guys like this format. If you don't, let me know. But please be nice, okay? Don't be too aggressive. Because I am very difficult to deal with constructive criticism. Like, I don't mind it. But I also cry internally because I have a huge ego. And we have to be gentle with my ego, okay? So please, like, have an appreciative feedback with the constructive feedback on the side. Sounds good? So let's grab your drink. And let's start with Act 1. Alrighty? Let's get it. Act 1. Getting nowhere, but somewhere. The opening scene starts with our girl Ebony getting interrupted in her day off by her pal Cal. So you see the dynamic of their friendship is kind of weird, but that's not the point. Like, Cal comes in and she's like, we need your help, I need your help, I need your help. We need to rescue Felicia. Felicia is a common friend that they have that they met in the strip club. And Felicia apparently has really bad taste in men. And her relationship with men always go really bad. And throughout the first, 3 minutes, it's constantly reminded how it's like, oh, damn, Felicia, she has bad taste in men. And I thought that was kind of annoying, but that's not the point. The point was that they're trying to rescue Felicia. And this is when the first masterpiece occurs in the movie. So what happens is Cal and Ebony just storm in the room, right? They storm in the apartment, and the boyfriend does a Kill Bill moment, and he throws a knife, and it lands in between both of them in the wall. And they did some Matrix shit. Like, they went back and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And our girl Ebony decided, I'm gonna fight this guy with hand-to-hand combat. So they're both fighting hand-to-hand, which was pretty impressive, I'm not gonna lie. And throughout my research, I found out that Michelle, who's the main actress and portrays Ebony, she actually has military background. That was pretty cool to me that she did probably her own stunts, I'm assuming. They didn't have a stunt coordinator. I don't think they could afford that, but that's not the point. The point is that she did a hand-to-hand combat, and he lands on the floor. They exchange words, and my favorite part the first time around is that they exchange words, and when they exchange words, his voice is dubbed over, and you can clearly tell because they didn't even bother syncing the voice with the mouth. And it's funny the first time around, but this happens throughout the movie at least 4 to 5 times.
Act 2.
And
the plot?
Yeah, that was a mess. And once that happens, it fades to black and the movie title rolls in. You find out nothing in the movie title except a bunch of nameless, probably D-star celebrities are in this movie. Nobody's recognizable. None of their names are people that I know of. And the beginning of the movie starts. Ebony is doing her job as a private investigator, right? One of the very rare times in this movie that she's doing her actual job. And she's in the car acting like she's incognito recording this guy when the local crime watch lady randomly appears. And this old lady appears in the beginning of the movie saying some unnecessary comment about Felicia. But she comes in, she barges in the scene, and she immediately just insults Ebony at her job. She's like, you're crap at your job. You make it obvious that you're a private investigator. And I honestly agree with this old lady. Like, I was like, amen, preach. Like, tell us more. Like, call her out. And she doesn't do that. Instead, she tells Ebony that she needs help finding her granddaughter. Her granddaughter has been missing for a few weeks, and all that she knows is that her granddaughter has been with a well-known rapper named Caleb, I said Kalel. Caleb, who's basically the antagonist of the movie, and he's also kind of like R. Kelly. Like, he's kind of a creep. But Caleb apparently is a reborn Christian and a pastor who is known for hanging out with young girls. Okay, everybody knows that he hangs out with little young girls, and nobody has an issue with it except Ebony. Ebony definitely has an issue with him, and I love the fact that she's just like, that is disgusting. Why is he hanging out with young girls? And I was like, you know what? I clap for that. Ebony tells the granny that she should let the police know of what's happening. And she's like, I did, and they did nothing. You know, the cops were just there. And I'm like, you know what? That's fucked up. The cops should be helping her out. But according to the granny, the only solution that she has is Ebony. Because Ebony understands the hood. Ebony knows the hood. Ebony is for the streets, by the streets. For the people, by the people. And I thought that was really funny, honestly. I thought that was like, okay. I'm like, first of all, how, but okay, we're gonna go with that. Ebony hesitated, but she like randomly agreed. She was like, I guess I'm gonna help this old lady out. And Ebony goes home, and while she's home, she's like swiping left and right as if she's in Tinder, because she's trying to get some young dick. All right, she's single and she wants some DICK, and she doesn't want no old man. She wants a young buck. And throughout this whole movie, that seems to be like the theme for her. Like, she's a cougar out for like looking for young bucks to like lock down. And it's really funny how all the young guys in this movie have the theme of just aggressively hitting on her. And that is just amazing writing to me. At certain points, I just question it, to be honest, because it gets out of hand. But, no judgment here. Got the young dick. We're all about getting what you want. And anyway, that's not the point. The point is, Cal randomly pops in the house again, not invited. And she's like, hey, this R. Kelly guy's on TV doing an interview with this random British lady who has a random accent. And in this 3-minute useless interview that we see on TV, one thing I learned is that Caleb thinks he's Dr. Seuss, so he ends every sentence with a rhyme, and that was super bizarre. But I like the fact that he talks in rhymes, because it gives him kind of like a quirky attribute. It's like, okay, you're evil, but you talk in rhyme. Like, you just literally talk in rhyme just for the fuck of it. And as that's happening, our girl Ebony has an eye of an eagle, and she spots the granddaughter, right? And she's like, oh my God, that's this person. And she's like, and then Kyle was like, shut the fuck up, I'm watching the interview. And it ends like that. But as all of that is happening, this guy randomly FaceTimes Ebony, right? He FaceTimes her. And it's a one-sided conversation, right? And Ebony, throughout this whole interaction, has the most disgusting face ever. As this guy is, like, being a total creep, and he looks like a creep. No offense to that actor. That actor, I don't know his name, he did such a good job on making me feel uncomfortable, because throughout the whole every time he appeared on the screen, I felt the creeps, because I thought this guy was just not okay. Like, I was just like, this guy's a creep. I don't like him. And he did a good job on that. Like, good job to you. I don't know what your name is, but you did such a good job portraying a creep. And in this conversation that she has with him, we learned that she has 3 rules, all right? And rule number 1 was pussy loves dick. Dick loves pussy. Those are her exact words. Rule number 2, I put wasn't that important because I really didn't know what it was. I can't remember. And 3 is the most important rule. I don't come quick. I come hard. Those are words, okay? Those were her words. Somebody wrote it. Who wrote this? who wrote this? Because that was kind of weird. That was really, really weird. And I felt weirded out by these characters because they're so wooden. Like, there's no emotion in it that I was just like, why am I seeing this? They keep talking. And another note that I put, a side note, is that they said throughout this interaction, this creepy guy said, let me dust off your granny panties so you won't be so feisty. Okay. I have a question, writers. Who thought this was a great idea to write that? Who? Was it you, Nia? Nia, as a woman, you thought it was okay that they wrote that? Like, who writes that? Who says that? That's my question. And there's nothing wrong with, being a cougar. Because being a cougar, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong being cougar. That's all I gotta say. There's nothing wrong with being cougar. There's nothing wrong getting what you want. I am a full supporter of that. Don't be ashamed of yourself. Express yourself. That is my whole theory in life. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. All right, let's just go on to Act 2. Let's get it.
Act 2. The plot is actually moving.
So the second arc for me starts when they find out that Felicia is actually able to get them a job in the catering event for Caleb's book reading. They're setting up for the event when Felicia's boss comes in, right? He comes in, and guess who he hit on? On Ebony. He hits on Ebony. Correct. Ding, 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 ding. And Ebony responds to his aggressive hitting on by speaking some Spanish about her vagina. And I cringed because I had no idea what the hell she was saying. I'm a native Spanish speaker. Like, I speak Spanish on a daily basis, at home, at work, everything in between. And I was very confused by her Spanish. I was like, is that even Spanish? What is that? And I had to I listened to it at least like 4 or 5 times, and I still didn't understand it. So I finally put the closed captioning, and from what I remember, it was something about pound. That how she likes getting her vagina pound. And that was like unnecessary. But after that awful interaction, Ebony goes to the bathroom and sees a young girl crying, right? And she quickly recognizes that the girl crying was the granddaughter. To which they have a very aggressive interaction at the beginning, and I was very confused by the dialogue. And the granddaughter, who I really can't remember her name right now, I think it's Nakia, based on what I read, or Nikaya. I can't pronounce her name. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that name. But she felt that she couldn't go home because her grandmother and her don't see eye to eye, which happens to a lot of us when we're teenagers. We think that our parents or our guardian is against us for everything, which is a reason not to be home, and that her grandmother smothers her. And it's a valid reason, I guess. Like, I agree with her. I'm like, you know what, if that's why you're not home, I agree with you. But then our girl Ebony responds to this by stating that smothering is love. That, her smothering means that she loves you. No, smothering is not love. Smothering is like letting the person feel like they have no choice in life. No personal space, no personal decision in their life. Like, no, who wrote this? Why didn't you stop it? I don't understand. So, as she states this, out of nowhere, Ebony gets super emotional about Nakia, right? And Nakia's like, I have to go back. So she goes back to Caleb, aka Goddaddy, and Ebony meets Goddaddy, right? And when she meets Goddaddy, she has some like shrimp in her plate, and they have a weird interaction. AKA she tries to flirt with him, but he doesn't fall for it. That was like the only guy in this whole entire movie that did not seduce her or try to hit on her. He just straight up tells her that she's too old for him. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, oh my god, yes. It's so fucked up, but I really was rooting for that. But regardless, one of his goons, and his name is Little Dub. He's kind of cute a little bit, but not really. But Little Dub like meets her and he falls in love. Like he was like, I love everything about you, baby girl. They exchange numbers, right? And they, basically go on with their life. And this is when things start really moving, like I said, because you find out like right after she and Little Dub go on their separate ways that Cal got a job with Caleb. Like she becomes his driver. And our girl our girl Ebony does not like that. Okay? She does not. She was like, what the F? How you got a job? And this torn their friendship very quickly. And it was a weak argument, to be honest. On a side note, I just wanted to point out some production or like some continuity error. When she was walking with Ebony and Little Dub, when they were walking, it was pitch black in the background. And by the time she met up with Cal, it was like either sunrise was happening or sunset. Like, who did not notice that? I just wanted to point that out. Who didn't? Anyway, regardless, the next day occurs, and Little Dub FaceTimes Ebony, okay? So he's FaceTiming her. You can see it on the screen that he's FaceTiming her. And she answers her phone as if somebody that's answering the phone that she's not on FaceTime call, which is really weird. So throughout their 2-minute interaction, she's on her phone and he's like on FaceTime. I don't know why, but they exchange meaningless words, and it ends up with Little Dub saying that he wanted to see her again and to come and hang out in Caleb's house. And Ebony did a smart thing. She's like, fuck it. He's invited me to Caleb's house. Say no more. So she seizes the opportunity to see if she's able to find Nakia. And does she find her? That is the mystery. But right before she hangs out with Little Dub, her ex-husband, I can't remember his name right now, FaceTimes her. And this is when the audio of In and Out comes in heavy. Like, for 5 minutes straight, we see the poor editing choices and the poor production in general, okay? So, this is my favorite interaction. I keep saying that, but it's honestly the truth, okay? And the reason why I keep saying that is because I feel like the writers forgot how people interact with each other as human beings, and they just write these characters as wooden as possible. They're just like, let's make them robotic and let's have these conversations. So, back to this conversation. So, Ebony and her ex-husband have this conversation. They're talking about, you find out a little bit about their background before the movie started, I guess. So, let me give you some tea. Are you ready for some tea? Let's grab your little cuppa, all right? So, the tea is, our girl Ebony got pregnant with some other man, like a man that did not belong to the husband, clearly. And this was a very, she just the way they spoke about it was so off, because I put in my notes, in quotation, lost the love of my life and you lost another man's babies. And Ebony's response at one point is that we would have been a beautiful family. How? How, you messy bitch? You cheated on your husband, girl. The whole point of this interaction was just to let us know background information. But there was it just didn't move. The whole entire movie is just useless information that doesn't move the plot. And just thinking about it right now, it's just frustrating me. Anyway, on to Act 3, baby. Act 3. Things just get out of control. So, Ebony finally meets Little Dub at Cal's house, and they're just hanging out in his room. And it's heavily implied that he wants to pound that cake. And there's nothing wrong with pounding that cake, because if you want it, you get it. But here's the moment when the plot really picks up after an hour in, and it just stays at 200 miles per hour until the end. All right? So I want everybody to put their seatbelts on and refill your drinks, because we're just gonna drink in order for this movie to make sense, okay? So our girl Ebony does a very smart move here, and I do applaud the writers for writing this clever, and I'm putting that in quotations, clever thing. She decides that she's gonna drug out Little Dub, okay? She's gonna give him sleeping pills, which was pretty smart, to be honest. But At the same time, I guess she does a dumb move because as she was searching for the drug, she leaves her car keys in the bed, and I'm saying it was a dumb move because the camera told me, and I'm saying that because it slowly zooms into the car keys as if it means something. Does it mean something? I really don't know. So our guy, Little Dub, passes out. Okay. And this is the point where you expect Ebony to run out of the room, look for Nakia, and like escape. But do you think we get that right away? No, we don't. What we get is that she goes to the bathroom and she has a freaking flashback. And in the flashback, you would think that we get, reasons why she became a private investigator or why she's not a stripper or why she's not a stripper. Do we get any of that? No. We don't get any of that. We just have a flashback of her talking to another dancer in the same bathroom that she's in. Why? I don't know. Do I know what they're talking about? No. Because at that moment, I was so mad because I knew that this was going to lead to nowhere that I honestly did not pay attention. I'm going to be honest. I did not pay attention. And her wig was distracting me. She had this, I think, like, blonde wig that was really... I don't know anything about wigs. I'm not educated in wigs. But when I know when I see a cheap wig. And that was one cheap-ass wig. And why? Why? Throughout that flashback, I kind of stumbled on that one. Throughout the flashback, she gets a text message from the weirdo from earlier, the creep, and say that he doesn't like being ignored, and he emphasized on that. And I was like, okay, that was random. But she runs out to find Nakia. And that's when they decide to have a loud discussion instead of just running out of the house. Like, I would have just been like, hey, let's get the fuck out. No, she goes back and forth because Nakia wants to take these shoes. And she's like, no, let's go. And as they're trying to escape, Caleb catches them, okay? And he decides that he's going to beat everyone up with a gun in the front yard. And, I mean, nobody notices the 3 bodies are laying in the yard. And, I mean, they're supposed to be in the suburbs. I think somebody would notice when there's 3 bodies just laying in the yard. And what Caleb decides to do is that he decides to take them to hostage and bonds them to a chair, in which he goes in this, like, religious rampage, making, like, no sense at all, and I was very confused. And then he decided to do, like, a ritual of cutting his palms in front of a book that says the Book of Caleb. And it was kind of funny because it's, like, in, like, all caps font. And I was like, all right, what's the point of this? I don't know. And he goes on this religious rampage, right? And just like I did, Ebony got fed up. Like, she was just like, I am done with this guy. She let herself loose, and she beats him up, and she snitched. And we got our happy ending, right? She got him, and she saved Nakia. And you would think that's how the movie finishes. But no. It just keeps going. So, this is when the movie, you think it gets more bizarre, or, like, it stopped getting bizarre, but it gets more bizarre, okay, guys? So, hear me out, right? Remember the creepy guy that kept randomly texting her saying, oh, don't ignore me. Well, he makes an appearance, and he tases her, right? She gets home, and he tases her, and he ties her to the bed, and it seems like he's about to, like, do something that, he's about to take advantage of her, and I'm trying to put it as nicely put, when, this random cute Latino guy who you see her interact with in the beginning of the movie randomly appears now, okay? And he saves her. He saves the day, And to be honest, I wasn't really paying attention in that interaction either because I was highly distracted by Ebony's cleavage because they were all out and the cameraman did a slow, like, zoom to them. And as a woman that appreciates human anatomy, I stared. Like, I just went blank. Just a quick shout out to Michelle Lamb, who portrays Ebony. You have a great pair of cleavage, and I really appreciate it. Like, I really did. But that's not the point. The point is that she got saved by the cute Latino guy, and you would think that this traumatic experience, like in the normal like circumstances, would stop a guy from like doing anything sexual because she just went through this traumatic experience. But no, the writers decided to make this guy say some aggressive, when I mean aggressive, like sexual advances. And it ends with them laughing about it. And you would think that this is the end of it. It fades to black, so you think it ends. No, we get more. And I'm like, okay, I'm a little over this, but let's just keep going. So there's a 2-minute scene of her driving, and it's basically a voiceover of the grandmother sent her a letter stating that Nakia got pregnant, and she's naming the child after the grandmother and Ebony because Ebony saved her life. And I thought that was kind of cute. It was a cute little touch. And I don't know what else happens because, to be honest, I was just like over the movie. Like, I was legit, I was going to say traumatized, but I was traumatized by this movie because I'm like, oh my God, can this movie finish? And it doesn't. It just keeps going. And the ex-husband makes an appearance talking about how the rapper got arrested, and thanks to Ebony being for the people by the people. And it randomly, like, it does like a quick summary trying to wrap up everything. And it basically says how she left her car keys and left her cell phone. And Ebony forgets that she left all that stuff. She's like, oh yeah, that's where everything is at. It's really funny. And it ends with the husband basically telling her that the FBI wants to know her side of the story and she's not in trouble. And that was great, I guess. It was a good ending. But you would think it ends there, but it doesn't. It gives us a little bit of Ebony basically taking the next case. And that's when it finally ends. And it fades to black, and we're done with the movie. And there's a video of Kalab the rapper, I think, rapping, and I didn't pay attention to that. But that was the end of it. That's it.
Act 4, questions for the creators of this movie, and the conclusion.
So, clearly I have some questions, okay? One, whoever edited this, like, why you did it? Why were your choices, okay? 2 is, was this movie inspired by R. Kelly? Like, you guys made an insinuation that I still have some questions for it. My third question is, why did Ebony and Cal have more chemistry than her and her other, like, cougar babies? And why did y'all write this weird-ass script? Like, it's a weird dialogue throughout the whole entire movie. Like, no, I just... Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna make the sound effect, okay? The inconsistent of this movie, you know, beyond the plot, it goes with the acting, the editing, the camera choices, just everything. It was just inconsistent. Towards the end of the movie, I honestly was slightly bored. Actually, not slightly. That's me being very generous. I was completely bored. I just wanted this movie to end because it was just ridiculous, honestly. When I tried to research for the production, like anything behind the scenes, I didn't find much except that they do have a website where you can buy merch, and I thought that was interesting. You can buy phone cases, fanny packs, shirts, even the DVDs. You can sign up to, I think, a copy of the signed DVD, which was very interesting and funny for me. But my favorite part, honestly, throughout the website, because I did go to ebonyhustle.com, what the movie was about. So when you go to a website, it gives you a synopsis, and I'm going to read a little bit of it so you guys can be entertained, okay? So one part of it says, when Ebony gets a case that requires a little muscle, she leans on her friend Cardi, which I didn't know that was her name, Cal Givens. Like, they give her the whole entire background. Cal's an ex-Marine and woman in her 30s who has a bit of a crush on Ebony. Knowing they will never hook up, Cal still puts on her best game. I love this. On most days, Ebony gets cases about cheating and fraud, but things change when Glenda Shaw, I guess that's a grandmother, asks for help locating her missing daughter. Oh, that's her daughter? I thought it was her granddaughter. Oops. I'm so sorry. She believes that Nakia is being held against her will by former rapper turned pastor Caleb Truth. Miss Shaw has been unable to contact her daughter in over 3 months and wants Ebony to bring her home. I'm still trying to process. I am so upset because I thought it was her granddaughter throughout the whole entire time, and it's her daughter. Oh Lord, I'm a mess. And in conclusion, in this like synopsis of it, it basically tells you the whole entire story. And one of my I'm scrolling through it, and I love how her one problem is that she has a weakness for young men that often throw her off her game, which I agree. The young bucks really threw her off the game. Oh, that's so great. I love the summary more than the whole entire movie. Anyways, this movie, you find it through Tubi, which is free, which was where I watched it, Vudu, Prime Video, Hoopla, Sling, and Plex. All right. This is a wrap on Ebony Hustle, a cinematic masterpiece. I do want to say, Michelle Lamb, shout out to your cleavage and to your cleavage. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. And to your hand-to-hand combat scene. That was pretty awesome. I can't wait to watch more of these movies. What else can I say? I love the inconsistent writing. What else? I don't know. That's it. Like, oh wait, I'm gonna give it a rating star. So out of like 5 stars, 5 being like the worst, and 1 being the greatest movie of bad movies I've seen, I'm gonna give it a 3 because it was kind of boring towards the end. It was entertaining in the beginning, and then it just like died down, and then it picked up again, and it was too much emotions for me, honestly. But I can't wait to keep going. I was gonna say to start this. I already started. Woo! To keep going with this adventure. I hope you guys liked it and enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you didn't, I really don't give a fuck if you didn't, because I really can care less. And that's all. I just want to give a shout out to one of my besties who just got her dream job. Like, you go, Glen Coco. I was gonna say your dream destination, your dream job. And to the other knucklehead, congrats on getting your master's, because we love educated queens in this bitch. All right, love you both, and everybody. Say you later, alligator, senora. I'm done. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to edit this shit. I'm out. See you later. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Peace and blessings and positive vibes. Later. This was a Maddy production. Everything by me. Cause what? Cause I'm a motherfucking genius. Hey, I know it's like a little late, but in 2 weeks from now, I will be reviewing the 2003 cult classic, The Room. Okay, and I want you guys to join me in that shit fest, because that is truly a disaster. Anyway, bye.